Early. Yo, what is up, everybody? Saltiest Gaming here with the Saltiest Podcast, Episode 1, coming at you live after Gamescom 2017. So, how you guys doing?
Doing good, bruh.
Good, man.
Let me turn on the phone. So, you guys enjoy the Gamescom? Is kind of not that exciting, right?
It's kind of was a letdown. It's kind of boring, actually.
Subpar.
Yeah.
Subpar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I was getting tweets from a lot of PlayStation people, and they're like, "Oh, Xbox's Gamescom sucked." I was like, "Well, it was better than PlayStation's because they didn't have one." So, and even though it was boring as fuck.
Yeah, they didn't even show up. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's Gamescom. Everybody puts all their marbles in E3 anyway, and Gamescom is just kind of a. I don't really know, like a. I don't know how you put it, but everybody knows E3 is the big.
It's weird that. Yeah, it's weird that they say that Gamescom is bigger. I guess that's like the amount of people that attend, because that press conference by Microsoft looks small to me, So I don't know. You guys still there? Hello?
Yeah,
it looked like they were just doing it in a room.
Yeah, it sounded like there was like 5 people there.
A small room. Yeah.
Well, it's probably a small kind of press conference. It is overseas, so there's probably some restrictions overseas on how many people can be in a room at one time, things like that. So it's probably just rules over there.
I don't even remember last year's Gamescom, whether they had a bigger conference or if it was just the way it was today. I honestly just don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember it either. I think the reason why everybody was been pumped up for this Gamescom is because the Xbox One X pre-order, because they drugged that out as long as they could. So
right, I probably just for coverage for Gamescom.
Yeah. So let's talk about Nick and your channel. I know you're getting that off the ground here. You came out with a couple of videos this week.
Yep.
What have you been up to?
Man, well, I mean, for the most part, been playing games. I mean, we've just been playing the same games as we did last week. The Madden 10-hour trial came out last week, so I've been really just playing that, trying to reserve my 10 hours as best as I can until Friday. And then, Fortnite, all of that stuff, Fortnite, Overwatch still. That's pretty much it. I mean, and just kind of getting my video off the ground and just getting game captures and footage for that.
So how are you enjoying the process of YouTube? How are you finding it?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, it's fun learning how to make videos and cut and edit and do voiceovers and stuff like that. I find that I actually do find that quite fun to make videos that way. It's pretty interesting. Now the process of YouTube, I've yet to find out. Like, I haven't got a copyright strike yet, so we'll just see how well that goes.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for one of the the views are getting closer to get monetized for my channel, but YouTube's cracking that whip, like on the rules and regulations. Like, a lot of people are complaining that they're getting demonetized for dumb things. So I hope my salty levels and whatever I try to do don't get striked or whatever, but you can't focus on that, I guess. But it's overall, it's a super fun process for me. I've only been in it a couple months, and I just love the interaction that I get to have in the gaming community. That's the number one reason why we all do this. That's why we're doing this podcast, is because we like to talk about gaming. It's a big part of our life, so I think it's cool. I think it's cool that you're doing your channel. Shameless, what have you been up to?
Oh man, I've been pretty busy the last couple of weeks. I was sick. I had my daughter's birthday, family in town, so I haven't been doing much, man. I mean, when I do get a chance, I'm on that Rainbow Six. I haven't started my channel or anything yet. Just been really busy, and the end of the year is crazy. I might be gone for like 6 or 7 weeks, depending on what happens. So we'll see what happens. But I just been on that
shout
Rainbow Six.
sorry about the interruption. Shout out to Judas in the chat. He's been real supportive of my videos lately. Yeah, so shout out to everybody that's here. That's cool, man. Life's first, family's first, and then all the other side stuff. So we do what we got to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you beating your dog or what? I think he's gone real quick here.
I'm back.
So yeah, I mean, let's talk about one of the topics that you addressed upon in your video recently, Nick.
Oh,
I
okay.
want you to take lead real quick before we're just waiting for some people to get in here. So ask what's going on with an EA with the shady practices that they're doing.
Well, was it really shady? Kind of, yes. But EA pretty much ended support for Mass Effect Andromeda 5 months after putting the game out. They're doing one last patch, and then that's it. They're only going to offer support for multiplayer, which is weird to me. I don't know why you would just why that's still a thing, because I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of people that play multiplayer, but they're still going to do some support for multiplayer. But for the most part, the DLC that was supposed to come out, I was just reading today, they're going to put that into a graphic novel and graphic comic so they can explain that story. But even so, that's still kind of it's just kind of crappy, and it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate for Mass Effect fans, really. I mean, if you're a big fan of the game, you're a big fan of the franchise like I am, you pretty much went all in on that game, and you supported that game, and you supported the company, the development company, only to find out that it was just a big flop, and there's a bunch of things that happened, in the backstory for all that. It wasn't even BioWare Edmonton; it was Montreal that developed the game, and then they had this huge idea, and then halfway between the huge idea, EA wanted them to do certain things and use the Frostbite engine and stuff like that. And then they just had a hard time really developing the game after that. And EA put a bunch of deadlines on them. And finally, I guess, March 22nd came around, and they weren't ready to put the game out, but EA forced them to put the game out, whatever product they had out. It was quote-unquote good enough. And then they would just patch it later. And as you can see, that didn't work out so well for them. There was terrible reviews on the game and whatnot. And so they shut down BioWare Montreal. That's not a studio anymore. No support for the game. BioWare Edmonton's all in on Anthem. They got the original, which is weird that this happened. They got the original lead developer, Casey Hudson, back to BioWare Edmonton. But after he comes back, which he was like, Casey Hudson was what they call the godfather of Mass Effect. He pretty much created Mass Effect to all 3 games, and that was his baby. And they finally got him back. But that was maybe 3 weeks ago, and then 3 weeks later they canned Mass Effect Andromeda. So that's just really weird. But that's just what the news that came out. And that's what happened. And I think it's
the reason why. Yeah, it's super unfortunate. The reason why shout out to Jay Fonzarelli. He's been a huge supporter ever since the beginning, right off the ground. I commented into his one of his videos, and we've become friends since then. So thanks for the support. I wanted to talk about this subject because it's one of those things that can develop into a trend. I don't know. I mean, they're all businesses, and when EA decided that they were gonna hand this storied franchise off to a second tier development team, and then they had Project Dylan in mind for who knows how long. So practice of it just seems just super shady to me, man. It's like they're dipping into the money pit. They're like,
yeah, they were dipping into the money pit. That's exactly what they were doing. They were double dipping. They knew that Edmonton was working on Anthem, and they wanted them to do that. And then they wanted this small studio to develop the franchise as if nothing was going to change.
So it's just like I can see it's just I don't know, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth because I know you're really passionate about that game. I know a lot of people are passionate about it because it had roots in it had huge roots in Xbox, and it's a huge franchise that EA is just pulling the plug on. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, we're moving on.
Well,
Moving on. Anthem's the thing.
It's just bad. I mean, they pulled the plug on it after forcing a small development company to develop it, thinking they would make money, and they got their money, they got what they wanted, and now they're just pulling the plug on it. It's super shady in that sense.
What do you think, Shane?
You know what? I've never been in the Mass Effect. I think the practice that they're running is kind of shady. Kind of sucks for the people that spent that money on the game. But I've never been hardcore like Nick has into Mass Effect. But I mean, I feel for you guys, man. This sucks.
Just a game development cycle. Like you come out with this huge game and you say you're going to support it, and then 5 months later, that's crazy, dude. I've never heard that for a game this big, you know? Like, it's crazy, you know? I don't know the sales numbers. Obviously, the sales numbers were low because they got, you know, bad publicity and stuff like that. But, you know, it's kind of just screwing people over, and I don't like that in the gaming community. I think that we should, you know, call a spade a spade. I use that term a lot if you haven't seen lately. But we should call it how it is. Companies and these big, you know, people like EA just do whatever they want to us as gamers, you know, bend over and take it and let them do whatever they want to us. If we're customers, we need to show them our displeasure and bad practices, and this is a bad practice, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's bad.
I mean, it really is bad, and they just took advantage of a passionate fan base that they knew would probably go all in for the game, such as me. I bought the the $80 version with all the stuff in it for no reason, and I know there's plenty of people.
What'd you get from that? You know, $80. You paid extra because you thought you were going to get more, and boom, pulled the plug.
Boom, exactly. I mean, there was a lot of support promised, and then boom, they pulled the plug. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, you're right. In that case, it's just really bad.
So anyway, let's get on to the meat and potatoes of this podcast title. It's Gamescom. It's finally here. We've been waiting forever for it. People that have been wanting to pre-order the X because for whatever reason the FCC and Microsoft and everybody else has been dragging their feet when it comes to the pre-orders. I understand why they waited that long to, you know, get the pre-orders out, because it got to a certain point where it wouldn't benefit them to, you know, release it in the middle. So they're like, hell, we'll just wait for Gamescom. It's a good way to get it out to the masses. So, yep, I feel like, you know, Gamescom, you know, there was no Phil Spencer, no Larry Herb. They were doing it in this little white room with white couches. Presentation at all in general. How would you guys think? What were your takes?
Well, we watched it. We watched it together, and we were both unimpressed, near falling asleep. I mean, it was just. I mean, if you watched E3, it's just like a recap of E3. Like, this is what we showed at E3, and then, by the way, you can pre-order Xbox, you know, One X today, and that was the end. I was unimpressed with most of it.
Yeah, Jay Fonz is talking about how on the Scorpio you're going to be able to upload clips in 4K HDR. That's huge for content creators.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's an aspect that is not going to be found on other, you know. So I'm super hyped about that. But yeah, overall, man, I'm glad I grabbed a coffee before the press conference, because I don't know if you guys in the chat, if you know, I watch these press conferences. I can't remember Gamescom, but did you guys remember it being this boring and stuff like that? Did you watch it last year, Nick?
Watch what last year?
Gamescom.
I didn't watch Gamescom last year, and I didn't get to watch it this year because I was with, you know, my in-laws, so I didn't get to really watch too much. But from what I read, because I was recapping it on Twitter and reading it, it wasn't really that exciting, and it was just a lot of stuff that I already knew about. So I mean,
Okay.
It really wasn't anything crazy. I mean, like you said, the only cool thing was maybe I saw Firelord in our group chat on our phones talk about Jurassic World Evolution, and then the X's pre-orders, and that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I took notes throughout the conference, and we're just going to touch upon the stuff that happened. Assassin's Creed Origins was the first thing that they came out with, and I think overall, I think we've seen enough of Assassin's Creed Origins. It's kind of like the Middle Earth Shadow of War stuff. I mean, Xbox has decided to not really have a lot of AAA third-party exclusive marketing rights. So the ones that they do have, they're kind of hammering into the ground. So we got a lot. We got it was like a CG trailer for the Assassin's Creed Origins. I don't know. It is what it is, right? We don't really need to touch much upon that.
No.
But the big thing, the big news that came out was the PUBG news. Okay, so they came down. They sat down with someone from Bluehole. I don't remember his name. He's one of the head guys, the head developers, talking about how there's been 8 million copies sold so far. That's huge because people are talking back and forth about whether or not it's going to be a timed exclusive or it's going to be, something else. But what do you guys think about, the big news, let me get to it, is that Microsoft is teaming up with the developers of PUBG, and they're going to be working hand in hand to publish this game on the Xbox One X. Okay. So I think this is huge, So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm as excited as anybody about PUBG, and I think it's going to be great for Xbox. I honestly, if Microsoft is publishing this game and they're helping these people make their game better, and they're taking, they're listening to Microsoft and how to develop it. I don't see this coming to PS4 anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it would. It just seems silly to me. It sucks for them, but I mean, I guess that's the way it is, right? In this market, in this day and age.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I don't know. There's 8 million people that bought this game, and then it's going to be exclusive, either timed for over a year or whatever it's going to be. I think it's huge for Xbox because it's going to draw in consumers. I personally would buy the Xbox One X just to play that game. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's going to be that title that pushes forward, because they don't have, because of all the delays of the Crackdown 3s and everything else, they don't have those games to lean on during the holiday season. So it's a perfect time to come and lean on this third party game. It's huge. It's huge for the company. I don't know. I'm just excited for it because people are talking about how Xbox doesn't have any games and this and that, but it does have a huge game, a huge title, So I don't know. I think it will be a console seller, and I think it's going to be here to stay. People have been talking on Twitter. All the Sony fanboys have been tweeting out, "Oh, we're going to be getting it eventually," and it's either that or it's fall off. It's going to lose popularity. So it's interesting to
I
see
don't
those
know
sides.
about that. I mean, look how long H1Z1's going, and games that are similar. I mean, this game, people are going to be playing this for a while. I don't know if it's going to die out, and it's going to have new life when it comes out on Xbox. So
it's gonna have way new life when it comes to the Xbox. I mean, it's. I think it's going to be. I think this game, like you said, will be a huge selling point because this game, I mean, it has a huge following and a huge player base on PC, and it has a huge following when people watch it on Twitch and people streaming it. I mean, it's pretty big, and so for console players to finally get the game, and especially for Xbox players, that's huge. And I think
the developers love their game. They love that game. I mean, since it's come out, it's sold, how much did they say, 8 million copies or whatever, and then they're constantly pushing out updates for the game. They're pushing out new content. They're putting in new weapon. I think they put several new weapons in vehicles. They added a first-person game mode to it. I mean, it was third-person. You can bring up, you can ADS and everything, but now there's a mode where it's just strictly first-person the whole way, and they're constantly, improving their game, and I think they're doing a really good job at it. And when Microsoft gets involved, I think it's just going to keep getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, I mean that's good for what it is. So anyway, after they showed that, they kind of went on a tangent and stuff like that. And this is the part of the show where they kind of faded off and it got a little bit boring. But what they were saying is, let's see, Jurassic World Evolution. This was
I'm
interesting
not
because
excited for that.
when
I
they
don't know. People are. I'm just not.
like world exclusive Jurassic blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is like a secret, trailer or something like that. And then they showed Shameless, you were there. I mean,
I know. At first I thought, they showed the T-Rex and it ate the dude. He ate it. I was like, oh, sick. You played as a T-Rex and you just go around wreaking havoc on the park and eat people. Then they're like, oh, it's a build your own park. I'm like, no. Instantly lost interest. I was like, oh, I want to be a dinosaur and I want to eat people. Like that's more fun to me than here, build your visitor center and put your dinosaurs in
So
the
it's pretty
spin.
much Roller Coaster Tycoon, but for Jurassic Park. Is that what you're telling me?
apparently.
Like that. I think they mentioned it's kind of like City Skylines, which I've never played either.
No, I played it.
It's just, I mean, it has its player base. It has people that love those games. I mean,
I used to love
SimCity and all that stuff has been around forever. It's just not something I personally am excited about,
And I just think it comes down to the Xbox problem with their, the people upstairs. They feel like this is a good thing to show to people. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the game that like you're trying to get people hyped up on. It's kind of like the Halo Wars 2 situation.
Do they think it's a good thing, or is it one of the only things they can show? You know what I mean? Like, what? That's my question. Is it something they thought was really good, or is it just something that they felt like they had to show because they don't have anything to show?
I feel like it was just a filler for their next little segment in their thing. Like here's a little trailer of this Jurassic Park, so they could set up their next little interview. It's just, I don't know. It has its fan base, and I'm not in it. So I don't have much to say other than that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they got some problems in their marketing department. Honestly, it's just like, okay, you guys obviously were kind of, trying to throw shit out there and seeing if it would stick against the wall. That did not stick. It was boring. It was not something that needed to be there. I
mean, well, do you think that their fan base really is interested in a SimCity Roller Coaster Tycoon type game? No. I mean, Xbox, the community is really focused on multiplayer games, competitive gaming. So why would you feel like you need to show this? My wife doesn't even want to play it, and she's not really, and she's big into those games, but she doesn't even. She wouldn't play it.
It's because you can play a Jurassic Park builder on your phone. You can go to the Android's marketplace, the Play Store, or whatever the iPhone one is, and you can download a Jurassic Park builder and play it. I mean, why drop? I'm guessing the price point for that game is going to be $40 to $60, somewhere around that range. Why pay that much money for a Jurassic Park builder when you can just get it on your phone for free or for $5 without the ads? I don't understand where they're coming from.
I thought it was a mobile game, honestly, when I started watching it. I'm like, okay, they're starting to advertise mobile games or something, So it's interesting. Yo, T Reaper.
What
building?
That's kind of the old school way of doing it, by the way. Just so you know.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Cool.
Usually, just copy the URL and then post it somewhere. But thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. The night is dark and full of terrors.
Oh yeah, buddy. You got that Game of Thrones fix in?
Yes, I do. I just got finished watching it like 20 minutes ago.
That's cool. Yeah, I caught the pirated version a couple days ago. I didn't want to get my shit spoiled because I was like going on YouTube and seeing like random comments like, "Oh, this dude's warging into a dragon." It's total like fake comment or whatever. But like, I was like, "Fuck this! I'm watching this episode." So yeah, I'll be rewatching that tonight because that was a baller episode, you know. So
Yeah.
so far we've gone through just a little bit of Gamescom. We talked about Assassin's Creed Origins, the PUBG announcement, and then we talked about Jurassic World. So, what are your thoughts on the PUBG situation, real
Uh,
quick?
well, having a wonderful argument in the Discord about that game. I honestly could give two shits about it, so it doesn't really bother me.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole crossplay would and the fact that it's going to be marketed with Microsoft now is kind of cool. I liked how Mikey Barra is very, he's very vocal on Twitter, but when he's being interviewed, he's very nice. I think that's very funny. I think that's very amusing. But at least the guy who created the game was, respectful, and he, it was an interesting thing. I kind of view this PUBG as like the new Minecraft, like years ago when Minecraft launched, it was like this indie out of nowhere that just blew the living shit out of PC world and then became, a worldwide phenomenon. And I kind of see that actually happening again here. The only difference is it's not a building game. It's not, an educational game. It's basically a third-person shooter, or a battle royale. So that's like the only difference. But I do got to say that if I didn't see my Assassin's Creed, I didn't see my Shadow of War, and I didn't get my pre-order at the end, that Gamescom would have meant absolutely jack shit.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like we were saying, we were falling asleep during it, man. I mean, it was rough. It was
and
rough.
and they kept that pre-order announcement until the very end. I mean, you should announce it in the beginning so it gives like retailers like GameStop enough time to let people come in and pre-order that very same day that you announce it, not wait till the last minute so then they actually can like take an hour to update their systems and then you just have to come in the next morning. I think that's kind of bullshit.
So Shannon Loftus is cringeworthy, dude. I mean,
yeah, she was she was very cringy. I liked how cringy she was in that interview. It was very funny.
Oh my god, dude!
I can't even look at it.
It was like I couldn't tell. Like, I've never been to a Gamescom, but like we're talking about, it seemed like they're like in a separate room almost with like 5 people watching, like cheering on when it says the applause sign comes on and shit. It was weird, you know. It didn't have like a conference feel to it at all, you know.
I mean that Jurassic World looks more like a Sims game than anything else.
Yeah.
That was interesting. There was one more game that kind of looked interesting. I mean, they showed that Mars game, and I'm like, yo, this isn't No Man's Sky. Please don't show me this. I have no interest in this. This is not interesting.
Yeah.
And then
it was obvious.
it
was filler,
but
right?
it was basically a rehash of E3, and I think we kind of all knew that's exactly what it was going to be. They didn't show Crackdown, and the reason why they didn't show Crackdown is they just delayed it, so it would be kind of stupid for them to show it on stage after they just delayed it. So that's acceptable that they didn't show Crackdown, but at least they showed that Assassin's Creed, that new trailer looked dope. That Shadow of War looks awesome. And the Scorpio edition of the Xbox X looks really cool. I like how it's like etched in green. And you got to be careful because those things will sell out really, really quickly if you're not careful.
Yeah, they've been selling. I heard Amazon is sold out there, and in Best Buy and some other retailers. So yeah, people are getting on them. I heard some people on Twitter talk about that. The reason why things are selling out is because it's in limited edition limited quantities and stuff like that. But that's just haters being haters,
Yeah, well,
So
it was kind of the same thing when they introduced the 2 terabyte S slash last year. Those things sold out like hotcakes because they were 2 terabytes, and then no more were being made. So like the ones of us that got the 2 terabytes, we were happy because we were like, ooh, we got these ones that have 2 terabytes of hard drive space. We're so happy. But now it's just a 1 terabyte, so I can't really be happy with that. But I mean, oh well, I guess it's kind of thing. But you were saying that the leadership part. Tell me what you honestly do. What's your take on that? Because I'm kind of curious what your speech is with that.
I've been seeing some weird trends. So I'm okay with Mike Ybarra and Phil Spencer. A lot of people have been talking shit about Phil Spencer lately on my local podcast that I listen to, and I feel like with time, I feel like people tend to forget, the past. They're like, okay, when it's fresh in your mind, it's like, okay, this and this and this, I remember this, but it kind of fades and your memory fades.
Oh,
So
hey.
Phil Spencer took the Xbox brand out of the grave. Okay. So Donnie D was digging a grave for the Xbox, and he was throwing the Xbox in there, and he's about to on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Phil Spencer was hired on, and he dug the Xbox brand out. He threw it out, and he's been trying to rebuild the image and the brand so far, right? Because it was a total disaster, back in 2013. I bought a day one edition of the Xbox.
But I got a
there.
question for you. Do you honestly think Phil's vision? Because Phil, a lot of people that especially people that I associate with, they don't really understand what Phil is really trying to do, and they either just choose to ignore it, or they're just too oblivious to it. What he's trying to do is and this might not be Phil's total idea. This could be Satya Nadella's idea. The whole idea with the Windows 10 family, the Windows 10 devices, the whole concept that bring Xbox and PC together. And you saw from that Gamescom that they are actually starting to do that with the crossplay between the Sea of Thieves. They announced that PUBG was also crossplay. That's actually pretty cool. And I thought, and so you see that slowly coming into action. But do you think that is? Do you think that's the right move he should be making, or do you think his dream is going to fall flat in a couple years when he realizes it's not going to work?
Like I said, Phil, I don't know. It's the subject's still out. I think we gotta wait because Phil has been doing stuff that he needed to do.
Because Phil doesn't like COD. Phil does not like COD. He hates.
I know.
He hates that game.
But he made the Xbox One S, and that was a huge success. I mean, he fixed the wrongs that were on the OG Xbox, and then those sold. And then he's been focusing on new hardware because the power narrative that was there. So, the Xbox One X is going to be around for years. It's gonna lower in price like consoles do, and it's going to be the main console for the foreseeable future. I would say, the next 3 to 4 years. So
Yeah.
he's gotten that out of the way, and he's trimmed the fat. The Scalebound devs were siphoning money into their other game.
Yeah,
That's fat.
Everybody that doesn't understand that the Scalebound got canceled because you stole money from Phil. You don't steal money from Phil. You don't not pay Phil, and Phil's just gonna cancel you. That's just the way it works. You don't take money from Microsoft. Microsoft's going to basically say no, F you. No, you don't take our money. You don't take our money without actual hard work. That just doesn't work. The other reasons why he canceled the other things are totally unknown, and we don't know the reasons for it. But at least the Scalebound was Microsoft's money. That's the prime reason they care about. So that's that's kind of the one thing that everybody's got to keep in mind is they care about that money. They care about making that money, and they care about keeping it that way. Sony, they can make money, they can lose money, but Microsoft likes to keep that steady blend. And on a corporate level, Microsoft kicks Sony's ass up and down the table with as much money as they have. So it's kind of, but then it's also kind of interesting because everybody's saying, "Oh, the X is launching with no games," and I'm like, That's not necessarily true. It depends what games you're referring to, because if you're saying no exclusives, okay, you got a point. But if you're saying, games in general, that's also not true, because you have all these multiplats that will play, so much better. You had a Gamescom where they're announcing 100 games that are going to be in true 4K. I mean, I would think that would assume that means games. Now, will these games be likable to everybody? No, but it's still games, it's still content. They're still technically delivering on their promise to make this device a true 4K machine.
Yep. So what do you guys, Shameless and Nick, you've been quiet over there. You guys die or what's going on over there?
No, I was just listening to you guys. You guys are all.
You guys are going all in.
You guys are the news guys. I'm listening. I'm learning from you guys right now.
So bottom line, so Shannon Loftus is in charge of the Microsoft Studios, right? So
Shannon Loftus has Phil's job now. That's and I noticed that you didn't see Phil today. That was kind of the annoying part. I wish he would have been on.
Phil and Mr.
Major Nelson.
Free Code Fridays.
Yeah.
Free Code Friday.
Larry Herb. Mr. Free Code Fridays. Larry Herb.
So you guys. So Shannon Loftus is in charge of Microsoft Studios. That's her title, and Aaron Greenberg is in charge of marketing. Okay, they're the general managers. The reason why I'm saying that there needs to be a shuffle at the top is because, Nick and Shameless, this is a question towards you guys. Those two areas, if you were the boss, if you're Bill Gates, let's just say, and you saw what was happening in the company, would you move forward with new people, and why? Like, what's your take there? We're talking about Microsoft Studios and marketing.
I mean, I would be looking at the trend of how many
specifically
you keep blowing money on these games and then canceling your exclusives. Something's going on. You know what I mean? That would be the one thing I'd look at, because you're going to lose money there anyway. I don't know. Like I said, you guys are the news guys, but I mean, what is the story behind these exclusives getting canceled all the time? And what's the story behind Crackdown being delayed over and over again? And if they're in charge of that, I mean, there needs to be something done about that, because, I mean, there's only so much Halo and Gears of War you can ram down our throats. We got to have something else.
Yep.
True, but the other thing that I want to point out is it's not a Halo or Gears year this year. It's not. It's and whenever that actually tends to happen, that always means Xbox is going. This is always the theme I see. Oh, Xbox is going to have a bad year because they don't have Halo or Gears. They almost always have a Forza. They almost have one of those. So that's almost like a year, an annually thing, kind of like how COD is.
Right.
But I'm kind of interestingly proud of the way that they did this year, because they did it the way they used to do it with 360, where if the exclusives weren't kicking it, they amped it up to the multiplats thing with the Shadow of War and the Assassin's Creed and like the 100 other things that they're going to show. But with Crackdown, either the multiplayer wasn't ready, which is very probable, or it just the game looked like garbage. So maybe they wanted to amp up the graphics some more.
I get that. Well, that game has been in development since what, 2014?
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. I mean,
I just
how many times?
I agree with what Nick said earlier, but I also we're looking from the outside in. Like, we don't really know what's going on back there. We're just speculating on what's happening. I know Phil has said that there are a lot of new IPs in the works that just aren't ready.
Yeah,
so that gives me some hope, I guess.
Yeah, but you gotta be careful when he says that, because then you gotta kind of think, what kind of IP are you talking about? Are you talking about those mainstream titles, like one of those Anthem titles? Now, Anthem looks really awesome, and that looks like kind of a promising 2018 title. I'm interested to play that. That looks like a mix up of Iron Man and like a weird version of freaking Mass Effect. But I you got to be careful when he says new IPs, because those could just simply mean ID. Like when that ID at Xbox guy came on stage, I'm like, yo, where's my shotgun? Someone give me a shotgun. I want please get this guy off the stage and get him stop talking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because like he said it was their 4th birthday.
No,
It was their-
I would like to go back to what you said earlier about, you know, it's not, well, clearly it's not a Gears and a Halo year, and you said you were proud because they came out with, you know, other multi-plat triple A, you know, titles to show. But what I would like to see, I mean, that, and like I said, that is great. But what I would like to see is, I would like to see somewhat a mixture. You know, if it's not going to be a Gears and Halo year, and you always said there's always a Forza, they need some more exclusives to fill in. You know what I mean? You could have Gears and Halo one year, another exclusive. That way, there's always something to look forward to from them. Because I mean, like you said, AAA and the multiplats are great, you know, but we're going to see those. But that's just been my big concern for Microsoft, is that they keep promising these exclusives, or they're pushing them back or canceling them. Scalebound's understandable, so we'll let that one go. But they keep promising all these other ones, and nothing is coming. Is comes of it. So that's just my big concern, really, with them. I mean, like I said, there's only so much Halo and Gears I can get. We need some other stuff.
I can deal with Halo until they kill John. Kill John, and then I'll be happy. I need. Please kill Master Chief. Please kill him, please kill Master Chief, and I'll be happy. And I can
glowed,
and I can say goodbye. And I can say goodbye.
Oh my
God,
but, dude.
It's kind of like the same thing with like Marcus Phoenix and Gears. Like, please just kill him, and we'll be all happy.
Oh my God.
I get what you're saying. Like everybody's like saying that type of thing, but the problem is like they don't have enough studios, and then the concept would be they should invest with more studios.
Right, and so does that come down on leadership, like Sun's saying, or is that just kind of
that comes down on budget, I think,
or that just is what it is, or budget, like you just said, is what it is, or is that leadership, or you know, that's what I'm trying to get at.
The thing that I'm hearing over and over though is like, okay, so we take it in a microcosm. You know, you look into the view of 2017. We were supposed to have Sea of Thieves. We're supposed to have Crackdown. You know, we're supposed to have State of Decay. If those were on time, nobody has anything to talk about. But they got delayed. This happened at PlayStation for years. We've had games that are announced years and years before games come out, and they're delayed multiple times. But the problem that's compounded for the company at this point is because they don't have things to fall back on. So when you're delaying every game, and then Phil Spencer came out and he was quoted to say, for the Xbox One X launch, it is critical that we have first party titles to back that up, right, to go hand in hand with that. So since it's not there, and he had that quote, it's kind of like, okay, what are you guys doing? But the thing that I have to say is he quoted, and it's been shown that they're going to be they're investing $1 billion into first party titles. And I feel like this is the direction that they need to go in, because they don't have a banger right now. They don't have. When's the last time we had something come out that was on the level of a Gears or a Forza or a Halo?
2015.
It's been years.
Well, actually, no. That's actually not true. 2016, because Gears of War 4 came out last year.
Yeah, it just did come
out.
No,
I'm talking about a new. I'm talking about a new IP.
Oh,
a new
IP.
first party IP. Like, that's been years, man. Like, I don't even think you guys can remember.
That would be a Powerball question, because I'm kind of curious how many people could actually answer that. That's actually
that's the problem, right? That's the problem.
2014 with your Titanfall.
And they gave us Rise.
Was that a banger? That was it. It didn't stick around. It didn't stick around though, right?
Oh no, it stuck around because it got a sequel.
Yeah, but that wasn't a first party title. That was a second party.
So the first one was an exclusive though. The first one was.
So there's a difference between exclusives and then first party studios, right? So the studios.
You're talking about the ones.
I'm talking about like Gears and Halo and Forza. Those are like studios they own. So I'm talking about like titles that are going to continue forward and pick up the torch, because there's only so long that you can rely on these titles, to move forward. So that's been a problem. That's what I'm trying to say. So if they're investing this money into these games, we need to get something soon that's going to, be like a Forza, a Halo, a Gears. Multiple titles come out in the future so it can sustain the brand. They need sustaining,
No,
So
I got a question. Do you do it? No, this is kind of an interesting question because I think some people actually feel this way. Do you think this PUBG game is going to be the answer to like salvation and on the Xbox, network since it does so well on PC?
I honestly do think it's going to be that way because I just feel like it's a console seller. I don't feel like there's any other titles out there that are going to be able to move consoles like this game is. Like the bottom line is I've seen multiple quotes on Twitter from people that, work for the developer. I think who was it? Someone from IGN asked one of the developers, it's like, okay, so specifically asking you, is this game, going to be a timed exclusive? Or are you guys, going with Microsoft? And the lady that was quoted, I don't remember her name, but it's on my Twitter. She said, it's going to be exclusive with Microsoft. And the fact that they're working hand in hand to develop the game and bring it out faster for Microsoft, that is clear signs that either A, it's going to be a timed exclusive that's going to be on Microsoft for so long that by the time it hit PlayStation, it wouldn't really matter as much, or it's going to be specifically 100% exclusive. So I don't know. Shameless has watched a lot of PUBG.
I watch a lot.
So
I mean, I remember when it dropped, I was watching it and I fell in love with it. And saying the game's going to save Xbox, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I do agree that it will move consoles. It's a big step forward. It's a popular game. It's not really losing any traction. And when it hits console, when it hits the Xbox, I think it's just going to get that new life. And because I know I want to play it, I don't have a PC that will run it, and I really want to play it.
I think it will help the X, and I think it will push some units. I think there's a big enough following for it to push. And I think once it hits Xbox, I think that'll probably be the hype of it. Kind of like T Reaper said, he explained Minecraft. I think as soon as it hits Xbox and it becomes a huge thing and it's on console and console players finally get to play it, I think it will then start to slow. The game will then start to fall off, like Sun said before, if it even gets to PlayStation beforehand. But I do think the game is well known and big enough to move, enough people to Xbox.
Yeah,
Microsoft.
guy said about 8 million sold is what the guy said.
Yeah, they
8
just
million.
hit 8 million
Yeah,
last week.
Yeah, the guy just said 8 million. That's impressive.
So one of the advantages of moving PUBG to the console space, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but PC people, they like to fuck with their settings and they're allowed to do that. So one of the things that they do, because there are cheaters out there in the video game space, surprise, surprise, right? It's a surprise. They'll turn down the textures and the settings on their PC to low, and it makes all the grass and shit disappear. So you can see people that are trying to hide in the grass, and they're clear as day, right?
Oh, that's brilliant for campers. Nice.
So they do that on PC. You bring it to the console space, that's eliminated. The stuff about them, changing their settings and going to 200 frames a second because I have a baller ass PC that I paid $5,000 for, and you have a piece of shit PC that can barely run low settings. Okay, Jay Fonz is talking about that they fixed it, but I think it's cool that it's all going to be standard. You know what I'm saying? There might be crossplay there. Like in the console space, I feel like it's gonna bring people that aren't necessarily wanting to play that game on PC either, but because they are console players and they like to use the thumbsticks and they don't want to get wrecked with mouse and keyboard. So I think that there's lots of advantages of bringing it over.
Kind of funny because I was legitimately just on the beach yesterday, and I was talking to my cousin, and he legitimately couldn't he plays PC. He could not figure out how to use the dashboard on the Xbox, and I'm not joking. Kid's 14. He couldn't figure it out. And at first, I thought he was screwing with me, but it then turned out that my parents' OG Xbox One had a dashboard glitch, and I had to turn it on and turn it back off for the glitch to go away. But he was telling me how he plays Overwatch and PUBG on PC and a little bit of League of Legends. But he can't. He says sniping is practically impossible on consoles, and I'm like, I got a video that actually proves you dead wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, sniping's it's a lot easier. It's so much easier.
But when it comes to PUBG, I'm excited for it because if you watched the interview with the guy, he, like you said, he was nice and respectful, and you can tell that he loves the game. That this is something he's passionate about. And I love developers and creators that love what they're doing, that they put time, sweat, and blood into their games, and want them to be better. And like I said earlier, before getting here, they're constantly updating that game. They're putting in new things, or they want it to work good. And the partnership with Microsoft, I think, is a good thing. And that's what draws me to that game. Not just for the fact that I love shooters, and I think the battle royale aspect of that game is amazing and cool, but that he loves the game, that he wants to make it better for the community, and that's why I want to play it.
He kind of pulls me like in the reverse of the guy who created Minecraft, who like basically created this like phenomenon, but then basically
he didn't want anything to do with it.
He didn't want anything to do with it. This guy seems like he does want something to do with it, and he's going to be around for quite a while to see how this grows and basically evolves. So he's going to have a say in its development. So the problem with the Minecraft guys, the guy basically took the deal from Microsoft and just went on his merry way. Let Microsoft basically turn it into the wonderful thing that it is now.
Yeah, I think Microsoft is opening their wallets to Bluehole. They're just saying, hey, we're going to help you make this game as best as it can be on the console space, and we're going to help. And I know for a fact that their funds can even go through to improve the game on the PC side. And in addition to that, they're giving the developers the ability to keep everything the way they want it. So it's a win-win for the developers, Microsoft has all this knowledge in the software space, and they're going to be using it to take this game that's popular on PC and on Steam, and they're going to be bringing it to consoles before you would ever see it before. Because we've seen games like Ark take years to develop in the preview realm. And that's not the case this time. Shameless, I remember talking to you back in the day when we heard this rumor about PUBG, when it was first coming out and it was starting to explode. Mm-hmm. There's a rumor that it was coming to Xbox, and we didn't believe it. We're like, how is it coming this fast to Xbox?
Right, when H1Z1 is promised like 2 E3s ago, 2 or 3, and we still haven't seen anything about that coming to Xbox. And then this comes, and it's like within the year, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to get it on Xbox this year, and just, it came out this year. So
yeah. It's crazy. I think it's a huge win for Microsoft. I don't think people are giving it enough credit or, showing, that this is going to be good for Xbox. So moving on, Recore Definitive Edition was announced for the Xbox. Xbox One. You're a fan? Okay.
I'm not.
It's gonna be coming out It's gonna be coming out August 29th, 2017.
Literally the worst $40 I ever spent. Literally the worst.
Oh my god, you guys are haters, dude. This is the best IP they've ever made, dude. Oh my god.
Come on, man.
I was fine until I got to that tower, and then I just got stuck.
Yeah.
Move on. Recore looks terrible. Yeah, I mean, that's all we need to hear about that. God damn. I mean, woo! Okay, moving on. All right.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we do move on, I haven't played it. You three obviously have. I wasn't gonna spend the money, but the fact that they are giving the owners of the game the content for free, the people that have bought it and owned it, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Let's give credit where credit's due. The game may be trash. I don't know.
I'll give
but to their credit, they're giving them credit.
I mean, okay. Pro consumer. Damn, I was like, that was immediately. I'm like,
shut it
moving
down.
On. Okay, all right. Next, Ages of Empires. You guys know anything about this? I don't know shit about this game. Apparently,
anything about
20. How old are you, man? Do you even know how old that actually
year anniversary? I've never heard. Sorry, I mean,
you've never heard of this game? Oh my god!
J-Pon says it's a polished turd and still is a turd. So
that is one of the oldest. What would you call that? Well, it's like it's kind of like the Sims, right? Or one of those real life strategies.
I don't know.
It's like a strategy
You
game.
can make something up, and I believe you at this point.
It's like the original. Well, it's kind of like the original Warcraft. It's kind of like that, where you build and.
I remember playing that stuff in the 90s.
Dude,
like,
I used to play that on PC in 8th grade. Allegedly illegally downloaded from Kazaa.
Oh my
Play that
God.
stuff.
I think they're gonna make that.
We're learning new things about everyone in the
that special
in the chat,
announcement
right?
that they're going to announce tomorrow. I bet they're gonna make a second one. Watch. I have a feeling.
Oh
I have a feeling they're gonna make a second one.
Halo Wars 2 all over again.
But dude, I would play Age of Empires for real, just for
Oh my God. Okay.
just for nostalgia. I'd play it. It's like
Qbert. Okay. Remastered Qbert 4K. That's the new announcement we were supposed to get, right? Qbert 4K never came out. So yeah, a surprise announcement tomorrow. If you watch it on Mixer, you might win something. We were in Mixer, and there's only like 8,000 people watching Mixer, so we're like, okay, they're giving out 100 copies of this game. We might have a chance, right? So,
hopefully I can watch Mixer, and like last time I got locked out of that. That was a
Bro, if it's free, it's for me, all right?
if it's free, it's for me.
seriously, dude, Mike Ybarra on Twitter, he was handing out fucking free games to She-Wolf and some other people. He's just like, oh, I represent the true gamers out there. I'm like, dude, I'm a true gamer. Hook me up with the next. I was like, fuck.
Hook me up with the email straight to the X.
You handing out free shit.
I like how Mikey
represent your company.
I like how Mike Ibarra responds to people on Twitter with, when you have over what did he say, over 300,000 gamer score, come talk to me, and then you're a true gamer. And then you check Mike Ibarra's gamer tag, right? And shit's all locked. So you can't even actually totally investigate this guy, what it actually belongs to. So that's kind of funny.
No, I think he's a cool dude. I mean, I think out of all of them, I think Mike Ybarra and then, Phil Spencer. I like both of those dudes. But anyway, Recore's going to Game Pass because it belongs there, right? It's gonna
It belongs there and needs to stay there.
Jeez, dude. So I guess I don't know if that's a pro for the Game Pass because they're getting Recore, but I guess.
Well, did you notice how Aaron Greenberg spun his speech really well? He handled it like a true businessman. I swear he said 4K 50 times in one sentence.
They do that 4K.
That guy,
true 4K,
yeah,
dude.
He said that multiple times in one sentence. I'm like, yo, you're trying to sell something. I'm not biting because
they say true 4K and most powerful console ever.
If people were doing a drinking game for that, they'd get a fucking liver failure at this point, man.
Oh my gosh.
He was very convincing though. I like that. That was the entertaining part about it when he was on stage with Shannon. Shannon wasn't really doing that, but he was, and I'm like, yo, this guy. I'm be kind of curious what Phil has to say about him trying to basically coerce people into actually buying this and be like, yo, believe us, we got the best crap. Come on, buy us. Be like, oh my, no. No, I don't. Well, I'm gonna pre-order it, but you basically waited to the end of the actual stream to tell me to pre-order it. So now I have to wait till tomorrow.
So Fawn said he gamed with Phil, the man, 2 weeks ago. So that's pretty.
Yeah,
I'm not up on that level yet.
All they said he talked to Phil, and he some guy asked him a really dumb question.
Fortnite's interesting. Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah, I can see Phil playing Fortnite because he's addicted to Destiny, apparently. He has 1,500 hours in Destiny. He's repping it and saying how good it is. It's the PlayStation exclusive, So, I mean, it is what it is, right?
Does Phil have 15 hours in PvE or PvP? Please let me know because I'm kind of curious.
PvE for sure, dude. I don't know. Maybe. That's cool, man. So, Sea of Thieves, they showed a reel, and then they announced crossplay between the PC. So I think that's exciting news.
Yeah,
what do you?
I'm hoping that game delivers, man, because I'm excited for it. I did get invited to that alpha they're doing this week.
Oh, I want to
Starts on the
play
20.
it.
Starts on the 22nd and goes to the 27th. So I'm hoping to get in there for at least a little bit and see what it's all about. But I want the game to be good, and I think the crossplay is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
No, damn, I want to play it.
Everybody else.
Well, anytime they like introduce crossplay, that's like a nod to Phil's like scheme of like he's like world domination for PC and Xbox. So anytime they announce that, that's like a nod in the right
It's
direction.
hidden agenda is what you're saying. Yeah, PlayStation isn't. I guess they do crossplay with PC. So no, I think with a game like this is that as far as I know, I don't know if it's going to have a story mode, but since it's multiplayer driven, it's going to be online only. You need to get the player bases as big as possible because if your player bases start dropping off and people can't find matches, the game's going to die.
Right, I was going to say this is the type of game that needs crossplay. It's this type of game, just because, like you said, and quite frankly, it makes sense for it to be crossplay.
So, people were bringing up crossplay with PUBG, and I think that there could be issues there because of the mouse and keyboard situation, the FPS situation. But I think this game is perfect when it comes to crossplay because you're not going to, you're going to be playing against other people. But I think in general, it's perfect for this game, and I want it to do well. I think this thing has a chance to blow up because everybody that's played it at E3 said how good of a time that they had. So
yeah, they said it's true 4K, 60 frames per second on the X. So I mean,
I think we all played
right?
Donkey Kong 64 back in the day, right? That was a rare title, if I'm not wrong. So this kind of brings that kind of a fill out for me, the way it's animated and stuff like that. So I feel like it has a good chance of blowing up for Xbox, and they need that in the first party situation. So that was a cool announcement, So, yeah, I think there's about 250,000 people in the insider program testing Sea of Thieves right now. So that's a lot of people, right? So they're just trying to, get the title right as much as they can. So that's cool. So, anything else that caught your guys' eyes if you weren't sleeping during Cuphead? Oh, I forgot about Cuphead. Let's talk about that real quick.
I mean, there's not so much to say other than the game. Just looking at it brings me joy and a smile to my face. And
it doesn't.
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
It doesn't remind you of 1930s Mickey Mouse.
I guess I don't know. This is I mean that has the art style. It's just the art style. I mean, I know it's a co-op couch play game. There's no online aspect to it. You can't play with your friend from across town or across the world or whatever. But I don't know. It's a simple. I don't want to say it was simple to make, but it's your old school kind of game. It's side scroller shooter, like Contra was, like Mega Man was, like all those old NES games that I grew up playing that I love. And I don't know what it is about that game, but ever since they announced it, ever since I saw it, I immediately fell in love with it, having not even played it.
I think that game is going to make crazy money, dude. I think it's just going to blow up. I think they're underselling it on the price, honestly. I think they could sell it for more if they wanted to. The development team was, a couple people that were drawing in their house, and they sold everything to get this game off the ground as an indie title, and it wasn't supposed to be this big. And they saw the potential of it, and it's huge, man. I mean, I haven't seen anybody that has said, crap. I mean, Cuphead looks like shit. Like fuck that game. It's like no, everybody's.
I could honestly say that, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
Oh,
so I don't know. I think
I'm just gonna say I'm not a big fan of 1930s graphics. I'll just say that instead.
Yeah, I'm a damn hipster.
It's not so much graphics; it's the art style that they went with that I think is awesome. There's no other game that looks like that, so that's just me.
Right.
I see where you're coming from.
Everybody's countering my argument. Well, damn. All right, everybody's talking shit about this game.
I'm not talking shit. I'm on
I know.
game, bro.
Fonz is giving me shit. T Reaper's like, this game looks like trash. All right, okay. I'm a fanboy. I get it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Nick's a hipster that drinks coffee in Starbucks and wears beanies and stuff and plays the bass in a band. I mean, he's all about it, right? You're all about it.
Yeah, I'm all about it, dude. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this game looks tight. I mean, just looking at it looked tight. I mean, that's really all that sold me on it was just the artwork. And I thought I was watching a damn cartoon, and they were like, "Oh, it's a game, and you can play this." And I was just like, "Oh, that's really interesting," because I'm just a nerd and I'm a sucker for that type of shit. So that's what sold me, really. So yeah, I'm gonna cop that. Get over here, hate.
So anyway, I heard all the blood, sweat, and tears that this, I think it's a couple and some other people put into this game. So I don't know. I'm buying it. I think it's gonna be hard as shit, and I wish I had some friends to lean on in the game because you can play with your homies, and then if your homie dies, you can res them and keep going. So I think this is gonna be like on the level of Dark Souls with difficulty, but I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna make a lot of money, and I think they'll do a second one hopefully, if they don't cancel it before it comes out, right?
If they don't.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that we really need to talk about something because I think a lot of Xbox fanboys were defending Crackdown 3 even to this day. I think that we really need to call it out for what it is. I think that Crackdown 3 is going to be a failure. I think it's a game that has been in development hell for a while. I think that they made promises about the cloud that they can't deliver on. And
the cloud.
Yeah. The magic cloud that they haven't done shit with, right? So I think Reaper's turning into a machine or a robot back there with this.
That's not me.
Ain't me. I hear too. I don't know.
Hello.
Who is that?
I
Is
hear
that you, Nick? You getting abducted by aliens?
That sound like it. I think I got fixed. I don't know what the hell that was.
Yo, I wouldn't be surprised if it got canceled, honestly, Fonz. I think that the proof's in the pudding. They promised stuff that they can't deliver. The game looks like shit. They said they're going to polish the graphics, which is bullshit. I think that they're just delaying the inevitable at this point. I feel like they've canceled a lot of games lately.
Yeah.
And I called it on my Twitter and I called it in videos. I said, if they don't show the multiplayer at Gamescom, this game is dead. And they didn't. I don't think you can tell me that just because they delayed the game, gave them an excuse to not show the game at all at fucking Gamescom. I don't think that excuse holds water at all. What do you guys think?
I think it's sad. I think it's.
I had like at the beginning of this year, I had maybe about a 40% hunch that they would do this. At first, it was the hunch that maybe they were going to launch it, but maybe the multiplayer wasn't going to be ready because it was like the one exclusive they could launch with the X, and then that basically parallels Sony and basically makes them look good. Now we know that basically Phil he doesn't want to cancel it. Sorry, he wants to delay it till springtime, which is the dumbest decisions on the planet. Because if Sony has their way, you have God of War coming out this coming spring, and that's basically going to wipe the planet just as easily as the Night King wiped that dragon from the face of the earth.
And he just killed it for everyone. Just kidding.
Yeah, but
all right, keep going.
But it would be okay if you delayed Crackdown but put something in its place, but he doesn't really have something in his place, so you kind of just left it like hanging there. So now like the like fall 2017 for exclusives is just like
oh my god, yeah. So
but you have a whole bunch of multiplats. But like everybody's like just ignoring that concept, like, oh, no one cares about multiplats. I'm like, since when? Like, don't you see all these nice games that you can play? Like, does that not enthuse you? Like, that just drives me insane. It's like I have all these games that I can play this coming fall from September to November. Then after November, then I'm gonna get bored. But it's just like it's the concept that he probably knew a couple months back when he first played it. that when he got his hands on it, that this wasn't ready, and then the multiplayer still wasn't ready to shake. But I don't know if they delay it. If they delay it again, I'm guessing it's gonna get canceled.
Yeah, I don't
know. It looks almost done though, so I highly doubt they would cancel almost that much of a finished product.
The single player looks done, but the multiplayer, they haven't shown anything of that, you know? So they tried to shove Terry Crews down our throats so we would glance over the fact that there was no multiplayer there, you know?
Put that in the chat. Hashtag blame Terry Crews. I think it's Terry Crews' fault, man.
I mean,
Why is it the actor's fault?
I'm joking, man.
Did he eat up the cloud power? Just kidding. But it's sad, dude. If it ends up getting canceled or the multiplayer doesn't have the destruction that they promised via the cloud, someone's getting taken by aliens again. But I feel like someone needs to get canned, and Shannon Loftus probably be the number one to go. But yeah, I don't know. I was disappointed that we didn't see that. So it just kind of clarifies that game's either going to be an epic failure or it will be canceled. So it is what it is. So anyway, to conclude the podcast here, let's talk about the Xbox One X itself. We briefly glanced over it. There's a special edition that's going to be coming out. It was revealed today that the people that pre-order it today in limited quantities are able to get the Xbox One Scorpio edition of it. And yeah, what do you guys think of the reception of it, the way it looks, stuff like that? Are you going to be getting it?
Didn't
pre-ordered it? In some places it has. Like I was gonna try to get it through GameStop, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do that because that incentive to get like $200 with the trade-in is kind of you can't pass that up. But we'll see. There's going to be a second wave of pre-orders because this is the limited edition. So once that passes, they're going to open up the regular, is my opinion, you know. So what do you guys think of the reception of it and the fact that it's getting sold out and stuff like that? Because I've heard that no one cared about the Xbox One X and they weren't going to buy it, supposedly.
Well, if it's getting sold out everywhere, then you kind of proved you're wrong.
Right. If it's being sold out and people are clamoring for it, I mean, yeah, then people do care about it, and people obviously do care about the strength of the console. I mean, that really is what it is. Because I mean, yeah, what he said, dude. I mean, people saying that they don't care, they're just a bunch of haters, dude, for real. Just straight up hate.
It's funny to me because on Twitter I was talking about the X and I was just favoriting everybody's tweets saying that they were super excited for their pre-order and they got their pre-orders in, and then I get all these haters, these Sony people that are like, it's just the limited edition one. There's limited supply, so why are you happy about it selling out? And I'm like, are you like the excitement police? Are you policing my excitement level for something? Like, do you have some agenda out? Like, do you really hope that Microsoft fails that much that you want to see that people are like not happy? I don't get it, man. I'm not a Sony dude, but you know, I don't just like, it's not my life's work on Twitter and social media just to talk shit about everybody and every other thing, because the PlayStation 4 Pro is garbage in my opinion. But if you want to go out and buy a PlayStation 4 Pro and spend your money on it, so be it, dude. You know? So we have all these people that are excited about the Xbox brand and they want to see it go into the future. So don't shit on their dreams, man. You know, what's so hard about that? That's my biggest thing, man. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, why do people do this? I don't know. It's a trend.
I don't get it either, man. I really don't. And it just, the trend just seems like you got to be on one side or the other. It just baffles me. Like, if you play PlayStation, play the damn PlayStation and don't worry about what Xbox is doing, you know. And all it does is create competition.
And vice versa. Vice versa.
But all these two do is create competition and create better products for you to buy. So why would you want, you know, one to fail versus the other? Just mind your own business. You know, I don't get it. It baffles me. I mean, I've never gotten that concept. Never.
Yeah. So you know, because if people really want Microsoft to fail, if it does, if Microsoft, let's say they went under, because there's an article that I did a video on. Let's just say that Microsoft sells to Amazon. That's bad for gaming, man. I mean, Xbox, you know, and Microsoft push the hardware forward. They're pushing gaming in the console space forward. You know, it's going to push PlayStation to make their PS5 or whatever iteration they come out with to be better, you know? If Xbox wasn't there, then PlayStation could be like, "Oh, we're good. We're just going to keep shit the way it is, and we're not going to innovate," because they're pushing back and forward. You know, PlayStation was the originators with, you know, giving out games with the subscription service, and then Xbox, you know, did the same thing. So, you know, wishing one company to go bankrupt is not good for gaming, and I just don't understand it as the thing that space. So I never will
Yeah,
understand that. But
I mean,
you know,
I don't see Microsoft going. Well, I personally don't see Microsoft going bankrupt anytime soon. They're like 1% chance of going bankrupt because they legitimately make the most money. I also don't see them selling the Xbox brand unless they unless what they're actually unless they suddenly decide what they're doing does no longer, you know, benefit them. The Xbox brand is now worth $9 billion, so I would say that it benefits them because they're making money from it. They're not making as much money as Sony, but then Sony is also basically relying on on PlayStation division to basically feed and break bread. So, you know, their 14 billion is practically almost half of their company. So it makes honest sense why, you know, Sony relies more heavily on PlayStation than Microsoft relies on Xbox. And like the other thing is like everybody's got to keep in mind Microsoft doesn't mind coming in second as long as on a corporate level they're coming in first. And so far that's exactly what they're doing. Now, if by some unknown miracle Sony somehow becomes more profitable as a corporation, which is like near impossible for them to actually accomplish doing. But if they somehow accomplish that, then Microsoft would need to take a step back and say, Sony's starting to beat us. We need to actually start doing something. But right now, they're the ones winning on a corporate level, and then, you know, Sony is the one winning on a division level. Microsoft legitimately has like 50-something million users on Xbox Live. It's making a profit. You know, it's not beating Sony, but they're happy because they're still making money. And you gotta keep in mind that's really all they give a damn about is actually making the money. They care and they care more about it than Sony does, because if Sony loses money, it's not that big of a deal to them, and they won't necessarily cancel a project over it. Microsoft loses money, they'll cancel a project over it.
Yep. I don't know. I think that could be a disadvantage because I feel like Sony has their back against the wall per se. So, like you said, you know, their gaming division is all that they have left to keep them afloat. You know, so it's kind of like that dude that, you know, he's surviving in the wilderness and he has to do everything he can to survive. But Microsoft already has a cabin set up with a fucking, you know, all the things, you know, they're not really worrying as much. So it's not pushing them to, you know, do as many things, in my opinion. So it could be a plus and a minus. But like I said, I think this Xbox One X is a good thing. I think it's good for everybody that wants to pre-order, and I think it's good for everybody that doesn't want to pre-order at this time because it gives people options, right? So we all have the option to upgrade if we want to, and if you don't, then oh well. We're all on Xbox Live, and that's where Microsoft makes their money, right?
Yeah,
so
true.
That is that. So, you guys have any other insights or points you want to make before we get to getting?
I got nothing.
No,
Okay.
I mean, I don't think GameStop is going to sell out though. That's something I don't think is going to happen. I think Amazon sold out rather quickly because they didn't really have that much in stock, and then
Within an hour.
Within an hour, because
Yeah.
they were like the first ones hit. Like my GameStop is not sold out yet. Like, and I'm going straight there right in the morning,
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna go there tomorrow.
I already see it. I already see the Project Scorpio version, 1 terabyte, $499, sitting there on my app, so I know it's not sold out.
Yep, I'm gonna go there tomorrow if I can get that deal where I can get 200 for the system. Then I'm
Yeah,
I'm
let
gonna
me know
pull
if
the
you get
trigger on it.
200 because I've heard it's up to 200. I think I saw a guy on Twitter say he got
Yeah,
$100 for his. So I don't
depending
know.
on how much I can get for it, and then because you only have to put $100 down, so that I think that's a steal, man. You don't have to trade in your console immediately. I think that would be a good option. You can just save up the money over the months until the system comes out.
Right.
Tomorrow. I didn't hop on that immediately, but I think that's too good to pass up. So anyway, let's do the outros where people can find you, YouTube and such, and social media and stuff. I want to thank T Reaper again for coming on, taking time out of his night to come on here. Yeah, he brought a lot to this podcast. I want to thank you guys. T Reaper, where can we find you and
You can
stuff? Where
find
can
me.
everybody can find you?
You can find me most days on Next Gen's Ring or Next Gen 720. I'm almost always on
Mm-hmm.
his shows during the week. You can find me on my channel. I'm kind of on vacation right now, so I haven't actually made a video, and I haven't made a video in about a week. But last time I did one, it was actually quite funny. But it's just plain T Reaper. And I'm trying to actually reach 500 subs by the end of the year. And gaming restarts for me on September 6th with Destiny 2. So I will be like grinding the grindstone to beat that game in a little under 2 weeks from now.
We all play that, so we should all hit that up together.
Do you have Twitter?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he does.
I do. I was trying to tell Salty to send me the link in Twitter.
Yeah, I've never actually sent the link out. I just invited per user, so I'll start doing the link that way. It's easier.
What's your Twitter?
My Twitter is.
What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is @ThomasBarker61.
Okay. Yeah, he's a friend of mine, so if you look up my Twitter, you can find him there. Yeah, man. Thanks again for coming on here. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, I normally don't have I normally don't have Sundays off. I normally I normally work Sundays, but like I said, I'm on vacation right now, so I have I have this weekend off because of the Defenders, and I have all through next weekend off because of the final of Game of Thrones. So I can't wait till see the final next week.
Nice.
I can't wait.
So Nick, let's go Shameless first, and then Nick. Where can we find you guys? All that stuff.
Right now, you find me on Twitter at Shameless Games. The L in Shameless is actually a 1, so you can find me there. I don't have a YouTube as of yet. I was planning on starting one, but the end of this year is just going to be way too crazy. I got a vacation coming up, and then a work opportunity after that, and then by the time that happens, it'll be, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I'm going to try getting that YouTube thing going, starting next year. We'll see how. I haven't decided how I want to work it yet. But yeah, find me on Twitter. You can find me there, Shameless Games, and gamertag's the same on Xbox. You can hit me up on there too.
Okay. Thanks for coming on, Shameless. I know you're busy. Shit's been going on. Nick, let's
What's up? You can follow me on Twitter at Nick Fury. All one word, just the same as my name is here in the chat. Fury spelled Fuhery, and then I just started my YouTube channel this week. 3 videos already. I finally got some time off work this week to actually start to sit down and learn how the ins and outs of using the program that I use and stuff. And so now I kind of got the hang of it and going. I have 3 videos up. My most recent video is about Mass Effect Andromeda and that mess. And I'm actually really excited about it. So go ahead and just look that up. Nick Fury, 2 words. Fury spelled Fuhery, and that's my YouTube.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess it's me, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Anyway, Saltiest Gaming on pretty much every platform. YouTube, 2 words, Saltiest Gaming. My Xbox Live gamertag, Saltiest Gaming together. Saltiest Gaming on Twitter is a little bit different. The I in Saltiest is going to be a 1. that's where you can find me. I started about 2 months ago, and I've received a lot of positive reception on my videos. I love it. I love talking about games and everything else, and I love talking in the comments. So if you comment on my videos, I will respond to every one of them, no matter what. So I'd like to thank you guys all for coming to this podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back with a new podcast soon. Peace.